Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to replace the bearings in your Easton R3 Freehub body. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. Right, so here we have the Freehub body, as you can see. Now, what you're looking for, I'll just show it up closer so you can see. It's just down inside there, between the two bearings, there's a spacer in there that moves, or should move, relatively easily. In there. You can see that. So now what you need to do is we remove the bearing in this end where the lock nut would go on for your cassette first. So if you turn it over like that, where you can see the poles on this end, down inside you can move the collar to one side and then you can see the inner edge of the bearing, and then you can get a punch and I'll show you how to tap that out. Right, so as you can see here, we got a block of wood on a hard surface. So you want the block of wood so you don't damage the Freehub body in any way. So you can use a vice if you've got one with some soft jaws in it. I'm just showing you like this so you can complete the job yourself at home with no special tools. So first of all, we put the Freehub body down like that, and then what you're doing is with the punch, like I said, down inside there, to hit out the bearing in the bottom, is you're effectively with the bearing like that, you're just hitting on the inner edge there. So you just give it a couple of taps one side, then move across the other and just do a crisscross pattern on the bearing. Never hit it out in one place only, because you'll hit it out crooked so you'll damage the Freehub. So all you do, like I say, is you get a punch and your hammer and just look down inside and just rest that in position. Just give it a few taps and then move it across. Like that. And there's the bearing with the spacer out of this end. So I'll just go ahead and show you how to remove the one that's down in the bottom in here. So to remove the bearing down in the bottom there, first of all what you need is a pair of circlip pliers like this, straight ones, so you can remove the circlip that's holding the bearing in place down in there. So we just pinch that together. Right, so you just want to squeeze the circlip up tight together and then remove it out like that. Just keep hold of it while you let go in case it goes flying off. So there's a circlip down in the bottom. So now we just place the Freehub body down on the block of wood, and same thing with the punch. Again, if you look down you can see the bearing in there, so same again, we just need to tap that down. And then once you tapped it down, it will come inside the Freehub body there, and then we'll have to do the same thing again to actually get it out. As you can see, it will just fall inside the body itself. It won't come out because it's the same size as the bearing that you already removed out here. So you need to line it up again where that bearing was and then hit it down and out the bottom. So a good way to line that bearing up in the bottom there, if you're trying to hit it out and you can't get it started, to bring it out this way, is get the bearing on your finger and just get it in position, and then if you get this is 11mm deep drive socket, you can just put it down inside there like that and it will sit on the bearing as long as you've got the bearing square in there, and then you can tap that out like that. And there you have the bearing that was down in the bottom in there. Right, so what you want to do is just clean out any old grease and dirt that was inside the Freehub body before you put the new bearings in, and then what we need to do is just put some grease around there first and down in the bottom. So we need to get that bearing in first. So put a layer of grease round in the bottom there where the bearing's going to sit, like that. And just round here, so we need to hit it down through there first. So what you need to do then is just get your Freehub body on a block of wood again and sit your bearing down in position there and get it square. Make sure it's going in square, and then to get that in, if you get a 18mm socket, put that over the bearing. That's hitting on the outside edge of the bearing only, never hit where the seal is, because you'll damage the bearing before you've even put it in. So you just need to hold that in place over the outside of there, and then we just gently tap that round, making sure that it's going in square all the time, and then it'll drop down inside the Freehub, because this is the bearing that's going in the bottom. Right, so once you've got the bearing started in there, you can just carry on and tap it down through. Like so. Now it's down in the bottom. So then you need to make sure it's sitting square in there, and then we just carry on and tap that into place where it's actually going to go. So again, just get your socket in there and just rest it in there. And as it hits the bottom, the note will change, so you know it's all the way in. So you have that bearing in the bottom there. You just need to put the circlip back in to hold it in place. So what I like to do is just put a bit of grease over the face of it first, just to help keep the water out of the bearing. Then we just get the circlip again, or snap ring, whatever you want to call it. Just lower that down into place. Once you've got it located in there, what you need to do is just make sure it's in the groove at the bottom. So what you want to do is just check that it's in that groove properly, and then we can carry on and put in the top bearing. Right, so before we put the bearing in, remember to put your spacer back in between the two bearings. So what we need to do is just put a bit of grease on the bottom of that, and that just helps to stick it in position there, stops it falling over while you're fitting the bearing in. So you can just lower that in and get it lined up with the bottom bearing. And now before we go ahead and put the bearing in, what you want to do is just put some grease around the outside of it first, and on the inside, so the side that you don't see is going to be inside the hub, just put some grease over the face of it just to help keeps the water out, because it's the water at the end of the day that makes them go bad over time. So every little helps to keep it out. And we just lower it back and drop it in place again, making sure it's square on there again. Don't ever hit them in at an angle. And then same again, using your 18mm socket over the bearing. You can tap that one in. Until it stops. And there's the bearing installed there, so you can just check them by putting them on your finger, make sure they spin okay either end. And that's the two bearings installed. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and we'll see you then.